Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sonictalk. I really must write this down, Sam. Sonictalk 731. That's it. Recording today, Wednesday, the 5th of October, 2022. Welcome, everybody. Just want to say happy birthday to my partner, Jane. It was on Monday. Yes, she had a birthday. And what else? Oh, yeah, I should probably say thank you very much to our sponsors. We've got iZotope, who continue to hang in there with us. Very much appreciate them. And also Baby Audio. Messages from them later. We've got topics. We've got all kinds of stuff to do with the world of electronic music and production and music production, studio, podcast. That's all that sort of thing. That's what we do. And in case you're interested, we also have a Patreon. And I'm just going to pop this in here. I'm trying to be a bit more proactive about publishing promoting our Patreon. So here's me being proactive. So why not consider joining us on Patreon? We've got two tiers. One will give you all of our monetized videos ad-free, plus Sonictalk pre-show and ad-free as well. The upper tier will bring you additional benefits. We've got sample patches downloads, extra videos that we've just added to that tier, which are extras to our reviews. In fact, there's one of the OBX8 questions answered, as well as a bank of patches, if you're fortunate to own one. And we've also got, let me see, Anthony Rother exclusive samples, which are a set of kicks he did on the Waldorf Iridium, as well as some Udo Super 6 patches. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And if you join before the end of the show, at the upper tier, your name will appear in credits. So why not give it a go? There we go. Yeah, I really must work on doing my voiceovers. I'm terrible at those sort of things. I start and then I can't remember all of the things I'm supposed to get in. And so there we go. But anyway, thank you, everybody. Welcome, everybody in the chats as well. I want to say big thanks to Wagyu for doing his excellent moderating job of keeping the lonely ladies away, or the sex bots, as Brie called them. I think that's a bit smutty, frankly. I think lonely ladies is... Yeah, army of
in your mind.
You're probably right. You're probably right. And also big thanks to Dom as well, who has been working behind the scenes to kind of make all of the chat and the questions and stuff and the cross-posting work. Because if you post on Twitch or on Discord or on YouTube or on the IRC, they all get posted everywhere, so everybody can see. It's a bigger conversation than we just have, so it's actually pretty cool. So thanks to them. So yes, initially this is Brie and Chris from booelectric.com, the battery operated orchestra. How are you, folks?
Really good, Nick. How are you?
Well, nice to be here. A happy birthday to Lady Jane.
Yes.
Oh, you're very
happy
kind.
Birthday.
I will pass them on.
Thank you. As you can see, we're sat here in a what was our studio full of synths. It's now a studio full of a sofa
and acoustic panels.
So we've been going through that world of trying to find the perfect listening environment, and therefore are quite mad now. It's been tough.
Yeah, well, we were talking pre-show, weren't we? And when you're tuning into all of those freakies, have you found that everything sounds different now, or it actually just sounds more better than it did? Because you can hear everything.
It definitely sounds better here than it did. And I think how hard it was mixing the last single. And I think, God, if only we'd done this before we had to mix that single.
Yeah. I made the mistake of sort of testing the room with loads of really well mixed albums like Talking Talks, Talk Talks, Laughing Stock, Talking Talk, what I'm saying. And everything sounded creamy and lovely and delicious and amazing. And I went, hold on a minute, this album's... an amazing
Pinnacle,
work of sonic perfection. So, I listened to some of the stuff I'd mixed a couple of years ago, and I went, oh, bloody hell. Let's move these panels around. But there's this danger that, you end up in an anechoic chamber with a postage stamp for a chair in the end. So I think we're going to stop before we get too carried away.
Found the right point.
We
can make decisions, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
There's a guidepost in place.
It's a guidepost, yeah. Of course, the real question is what happens when we take something out of the room and listen to it somewhere else. So that hasn't happened yet, because we literally just finished last week.
It took a month, basically.
Took a whole month.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a single out, haven't you? You've just done, because your Boocast, which is one Monday. I'm not sure which Monday of the month, but
First Monday of the month.
Your single is out, which is you can plug it here. Tell us all about it.
Nightclub Mishap, which we played it live a few times. We actually played it.
No, we only played it once.
Was it just the once
for your birthday, Gaz? That was the only time we ever played it, and it was literally just made up the week before.
Yeah, that was
And
loads of fun.
we filmed the video. Brie kicked a hole in the toilet wall during the video. So there's some genuine rock action going on there. You're
Well,
sticking it on. You may not find the actual kick.
So this is our
I got a
actual
little bit
toilet.
of it here.
There's a toilet just
Oh, yeah,
before
so
she
it
kicked the
is.
hole in it.
We filled it up with gig posters during COVID, basically, because we missed going out, and it felt like we were in a dirty club in Camden when we went to the toilet outside.
That's great. Well, I
Yeah.
thoroughly recommend it. Everybody gets stuck into that and checks it out. So booelectric.com is where where you can be found at the moment. But yeah, so are you at the point where you're kind of going, all the work's done, now we can just sort of chill a bit,
It was.
maybe?
Well, chill. We're going to chill on one front. Basically, we spent so much energy kind of doing all the PR for that single, which we have to do for every release. And we now have decided to take a bit of a break from social media so that we can spend our energy more productively in the studio making stuff, because it's very easy to get caught up with the feed. And before you know it, you're making stuff for the feed instead of music and videos and art.
Yeah, total treadmill. Actually,
Yeah.
something, talking of PR, during Monday night's Boocast, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Brie prepared a PowerPoint presentation.
It was supposed to be a watch party, so I thought, I'll bring a PowerPoint.
Nice.
You brought a PowerPoint to a party. Good girl. But it's all about what we do for PR, and it's like it's just our own personal experience and literally everything we do. And a lot of people have been saying, God, it's really useful, really interesting. I hadn't thought of that and stuff. So although we're not experts, and certainly we're not global megastars, we're not promising that, by the way, but it might be useful.
It gives you stuff to do for yourself, because when we first started, it's very easy. Like, people just want to say, give us £1,000 or £4,000 or whatever they are asking for. And when you don't have a lot of money and you're just starting out, it's like, well, where do I start? This is totally impenetrable to me. And so hopefully it's enough advice to give people the oars to paddle themselves to publicity.
I'm sorry, where can they find this? Where can people get hold of that?
At Boocast. So our YouTube channel, Boocast 5 is the latest one we've got up there. So it's youtube.com/c/booelectric. Booelectric is the channel name.
Yeah, there's only one.
The
most recent Boocast is live on YouTube, but all the previous ones are available on our Ampled page, which is a bit like Patreon, but for musicians. And if you haven't heard of Ampled, we do urge you to go and check it out, because it's
cool. It's a cooperative.
It's a co-op.
It's not for profit.
Totally music centered, and they're great people.
Really cool.
Go and have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the plugs, man.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's the least we could do. Anyway, Gaz, we also have, you've gone very dark. Your light's gone down. I don't know what's happened.
Darkness,
Quick.
Gaz.
Quick. Yay! There he is. He's back. Hey, Gaz Williams there over in Bristol. In his your depth of field gets pinned sharper and sharper every week, Gaz. I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing? Are you grinding glass in your spare time? I don't know.
God, I've been getting into filmmaking now, and it's kind of starting to get me. And I've,
Exciting.
I'm really excited about getting a tripod now. That, oh gosh, I hope that hasn't taken over other things. But like, I got a new tripod coming on Friday, and it's like I can't, I'm having trouble sleeping. It's that kind of excitement. But just wanted to say something. Like, can you see on that screen there? I've got like this.
Yeah.
It's a Apple screensaver, and it just shows your album covers. And it's like I feel like such a dunce that I've just only discovered it. And they slowly flip over. And the thing that it just totally, just about half an hour ago, I was just thinking then, I was like, I get a bit disillusioned about, I don't want to listen to any music. I'm a bit bored of all music. And then when you got them there, you just kind of go, it's amazing. It's amazing. And a new one flips over. It's amazing. And then it occurred to me about like how it's another form of wealth. It's like, it's a mean-spirited world, one which is kind of governed by people who judge wealth purely in fiscal terms. I was thinking that every one of those albums that I was familiar with was time well spent. Like, it's like, that's like wealth. Just that, to have that music in my life kind of makes me a richer person. And that, like, just seeing all those albums, I don't think it's necessarily a life kind of that wasn't worth living. I've filled my
yeah.
life with so much music, and it's like that is a wealth of a sort, a personal wealth,
Absolutely. It's the
Nice.
thing about being able to see them, because I remember I was around at Stan's brother's house, and everyone went digital a little while ago. He's still got 2 walls full of CDs, and we spent the night literally shouting, "Row 4, CD 37," and just pulling them out at random and putting them on.
Oh, nice.
And it was one of the best nights of shuffle that I've ever had. And then we did play a little bit of what's it called, Twister on some of the CDs. It did get a bit out of hand actually, but it was good.
Yeah.
And
Was there tequila involved by any chance?
Yeah, of course the tequila was involved. What do you think I am? But yeah, it's having them there. So when you pull something out and you haven't seen it for like 10 years, it's like reunited with an old friend. And you're right, Gaz, all those moments and all those things that it's not possible to interact with that digitally, I don't think. It has to be somehow physical. Although you've got
just a visual reminder.
You've got wallpaper
That's
now.
Great. I didn't know
Electric
Max
wallpaper.
did that either.
It's just it's in the screensavers. It's just at the bottom. It's just in the built-in
nice.
screensavers.
Well, top tip, creative top tip. We should probably cover some topics and stuff, because once again we've got loads of questions coming in. Those of you who are interested in questions, you just basically put QQ in the comment of this show or next week's show when it's published sort of straight away after this, and they'll sort of pile up. We've got a bunch. I just saw one from John Van Eaton, which I can't find anymore, which I thought was very useful. So I'll see if I can discover it. Or John, if you post it again, for some reason it disappeared, all those comments will be lost like tears in the rain. Oh no, that's moments. That's another quote. Anyway, so let's get on to some topics, because it's, let me see. And I think we'll start off with something that's quite, well, expressive, shall we say. This is Arthur Boufflet, on the Expressive Osmose, remember that? And this, I swear, this is the soundtrack to the bridge. And this is basically 2 notes, and it really goes to show just how... Come on, there's when he plays one of the low ones, it's just... Great playing. Arthur's a fantastic player, and that again, the Osmose is the exciting thing. We've been banging on about this for ages, because unfortunately they arrived on the scene with their brilliant new product, perhaps a little early to get the interest, and then they got hit by parts shortages, COVID, everything else, just all. But what's really encouraging about this is they're still there. This is quite a recent demo, and it's still available on the, you can still see it on the website, and it would be, I think it's actually, what am I trying to say? I think it's still €17.99, which I think is a bargain. I'm going to come to you first, Gaz, because I know me and you were both really quite excited by this, and we were both sort of privy to early looks at this, and it still makes me feel like I've got to have one, even though I haven't got the money for it. I want to get one in for review, so at least I can play with it.
It's the best. I've said it so many times, but in my experience, it's the best electronic music experience I've ever had, for that human and instrument thing. The Rolly Seaboard, it was great for what it was, but the Osmose is just next level in so many ways. And the Egan Matrix is a fascinating synth as well. So you get 2 things there. You get this, well, the Egan Matrix is just, optimized for this synthesizer, in that it generates all its envelopes from the touch. It's a phenomenal sensitive experience as well. You can lay your finger on it with the tiniest amount of touch, and then press in so you can make the note. So you feel this relationship with dynamics that's unprecedented, in my opinion. It's unprecedented. I love the touche. I think the touche is fantastic, and the touche's incredible sensitivity gives you an idea of what to expect with the Osmose. I feel so grateful for having tried it and over the various years. But when it comes out, it really is going to be, the one for taking fully polyphonic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how people. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how people respond to it in a way, because it feels like it's got, lots of the sort of big sound designers, Howard Scar and all these kind of other. When you go to Super Booth, they're all sort of queuing up outside the log cabin, which was where they were last time, to just sort of get their hands on it again because they're keen to. I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? I mean, because AT synthesizers are not necessarily considered to be the most sort of expressive devices, and when you make music with that kind of stuff, it's actually, you have to sort of put all the expression in elsewhere. But honestly, if you try it, I think you'd be really
heck of a lot of work. I mean, I haven't tried it, but I've seen all the demos and watched you guys doing it, and it looks absolutely amazing.
I'd love to get my hands on it. I've never quite got on with the Rolly C board. Something about the way it feels, just I can't engage with it. But I've always loved piano keys ever since childhood, and bringing that expressivity to the piano key itself. And I love on the website, there's a little demo of like the shake of each gesture, and how I really want to get my hands on it. It looks like such an experience.
Literally, it looks like on the demo that at some points he's not even actually pressing it. He's kind of almost rubbing the thing. It's such a light touch, and it produces those like such an incredible. Yeah, it's amazing. Is it the same sound engine as on the Continuum? Is that the same thing?
It's the Harken Continuum. I mean, and there's velocity, speed, initial pressure, secondary pressure, release velocity. There's and left and right. There's loads of, but it's also done at very high resolutions, which is why it's customly built for the Egan Matrix, which
very
I don't
important.
know what's going to be like to program.
An important point, though, I think, is that this is not a technology that is difficult for people. You're not faced with a load of unfamiliar controls. So I think I think it might actually draw people in from more kind of classical or more, I don't know, less electronic-y backgrounds into it, because I think that you're not kind of festooned with stuff, you're not bombarded with stuff, you kind of really are presented with this keyboard, but you do have on the left hand side a bunch of other controllers as well. So not loads, but just a sort of a tasteful amount.
Do you think
plenty to do? Do
you think being exposed to, because I mean, I've spent my entire life playing things like this, okay?
Yes.
And consequently, I play like a chimp with boxing gloves on. So, do you think merely being in the same room as this thing might, because I get the feeling, I almost intimidated by how expressive it is, but I also get the feeling that it could improve anyone's sensibilities as a player, not just someone who's an excellent musician already, but actually to be exposed to that level of expressivity might bring something out of you. Because I think, I mean, aftertouch on all synths I have no polyphonic aftertouch, is almost useless once you've heard polyphonic aftertouch, and that's kind of at the bottom range of expressivity. But this thing is like, I imagine it would be difficult to go back to playing an ordinary keyboard after this. Does it speak to other synths?
Yes,
and does it transmit everything?
Yeah, it definitely does MIDI.
Well, I mean, the thing is that because of the resolution that it's sending, it's got its own internal communication. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine they're going to be using MIDI 2.0 or maybe OSC to send out the higher resolution stuff, but I can't speak to that because it's their own proprietary stuff. As you were saying, Bridget, it feels very familiar, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever had the experience of taking a Rolly out of a cold room or a garage and trying to play it. It's literally like playing a bag of sausage meat. It's not.
I was imagining a row of cold sausages.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Exactly. No.
This is a consideration though you got to think about with these controls on the Osmose. Aftertouch, it feels like a kind of more self-conscious thing to apply aftertouch. You play the note and then you dig in for the aftertouch and then try and get control of the aftertouch. With the Osmose, it's just there immediately. It's not. It doesn't feel like.
Well, it can be. It depends how you set it up. You can do both. You can. I mean, that's the thing. It's worth saying. You've got the initial pressure and the speed of the pressure, and then there's a secondary point of pressure. So the key travels down, and it hits another thing, which gives you another set of pressure. And it's not only the the travel there. It's the speed at which it travels through those zones that kind of so you do get quite a lot of. I imagine there'll be a big aftermarket in people programming sounds, because the Egan Matrix, while it's very impressive, is not necessarily the most obvious and easy to see, or most accessible thing until you've kind of got to know it, I think.
It is coming out as a Eurorack module now, though, isn't it? Which is going to be
the Egan Matrix. Yeah.
So everything on the Egan Matrix, between the Harken Continuum and the Osmose, and then the module as well, means that, hopefully a community of, people, it's kind of, it's democratizing it a little bit more, I suppose, in terms of,
the thing about the Egan Matrix is it's very much, sorry, man, it's very much, it's like every single parameter is totally like responds to some kind of modulation input from a human being. So I would think that could be quite intimidating to approach as to create a sound on your own.
I was looking at being able to use it with the synths that we have, and they have a few demos on the site of using it with a Prophet 5 and a few different things, and they can access certain degrees of the expressivity, but not all of it, obviously. So they've had to do some kind of programming to map that expressivity to other devices.
And if they're doing the sort of the modular version of the Egan Matrix synth, so I mean, is it going to be
that's
good
what it
without?
looks like. It is quite spreadsheety. I've used that word twice in the last month. Actually, I feel quite proud of myself. I think I've created a new nomenclature for a certain kind of look and feel. But I mean, it is undoubtedly amazing. Ed Egan is a very, very smart guy, and with the Harken, it's amazing. And I think once you get into it, it'll probably be straightforward. And I guess if it increases in popularity, then maybe work will happen on a GUI that makes it. They've modified the GUI a little bit for the Osmose already, so it's just a different window on the same thing, much like Roland and the Zencore engine. You just wrap a different piece of plastic around it, and it'll be it'll look different. Sorry, that's a little bit. That's an oversimplification, I realise, but Anyway, that I just thought it was really worth, and it's it does say available coming soon. So I think we are. I know people get very cynical about this, but it's not like they're a massive corporation that have run off with the money and just don't care about supporting the product. It must be a tough job working there. But I know someone that we used to deal with Arturia has gone over to them as well. So they're obviously, it's happening. I think they did get a bunch of cash in at the beginning with those pre-orders, so that means they've obviously got a certain amount of resilience, which is just great news. I think
they have been releasing some absolutely brilliant VST plugins like Noise. I think they're really underrated. I think they're fantastic plugins, and their graphic design is always really nice. It's kind of really modern and really stylish. Yeah, cool company.
Nice.
Definitely.
Nice. Okay, well, speaking of modern and stylish, let's interject with an ad from our friends over at Baby Audio. Yep, Baby Audio makes creative effects plugins designed to add colour and depth to your mixes. They won Plugin of the Year 2021 in Future Music and Computer Music and nominated for the SOS Awards 2 years in a row. Why not have a look at Smooth Operator, a resonance suppression, equalisation and compression plugin hybrid that automatically eliminates resonances and muddiness, allows you to shape your track's tonal response while the plugin automatically eliminates resonances in the background. Why not use the code ST15 at checkout when you go to babyaudio.com to save yourself 15% on any of those purchases. That's the code ST15 at babyaudio.com. We thank them very much for their support. That was almost slick. I'm getting better at that, but then it's written down in front of me, so it makes it a lot easier. That's what I need to do. I need to make notes, don't I? Okay, right. Let's get on to another one. Actually, we'll just do a real quickie. This wasn't in the topics, but I wanted to post it because it's just that the Kickstarter's nearly finished. This is the new Filton from Modal. It's a Kickstarter, and
this is Filton.
It finishes in 48 hours.
Dual analog transistor.
I love the fact that it's called Filton, which is an area of Bristol, which is, I just think there's a dual filter that's basically taken from the 008, 002, the analog filter. I won't go into it too much. I just wanted to plug it. So if you're interested in that, head over to Kickstarter and check it out. I don't know if I'm going to cover much more of it, but I did promise that I would mention it. So anyway, let's go. Gosh, there's so many things to choose from. I think we might have to go with. Gosh, I just don't know what to do. Let's go with this. This is This is the Sistema AI Synth, which is just weird as hell. So basically, Sistema AI Synth. I'm trying to figure out what it is. It's a VST that auto-generates patches using AI somehow. I mean, and it's maybe this will be a quickie, but essentially you press. It's a subscription, and you get a certain number of clicks per month. So it's a little bit weird. So $10 a month gets you 2,000 presets a month. $30 a month gets you unlimited. So, and I'm trying to figure out what on earth it's for. I mean, maybe this isn't the most, but against the kind of the expressivity of the Osmose, this is a sort of foil to that. So this is it's a strange idea in that once you get to the interface, there's literally nothing there to do apart from some macros which you can choose. And I was trying to understand what's that sort of thing for? Because this is we're going to see more of this kind of stuff as it goes on, but this just seems like a very misconceived concept, because isn't half the fun about making sounds actually making the sounds rather than just pressing a button that's going to cost you 10p a go?
Yeah, and you could say that about the whole visual art AI generators as well. Like, isn't the fun in actually doing it yourself? But because I think it's good to compare it to the visual art AI things like DALL-E and those things that can generate art, because how people are using those, they're much more advanced. How people are using those is as a jumping off point and sort of in mood boards and concept art. And then from there, they go somewhere else with it. But I think process-wise, this particular plugin, it doesn't feel very different from generating a random patch on the OP6, say. And the process, because it says AI, it's got this sort of implied feeling that there's some sort of intelligent decision making going on behind the scenes. And the whole creative process is decision making. And if I'm going to leave some of those decisions to a machine, I want to trust that machine. And to trust the machine, you have to trust the AI, and AI is only ever as good as the humanity that goes into it. These visual generators are so good because they've got the entire history of art in them, basically everything people have ever created.
Well, that's it. Yeah, they've got a massive data set to munge through as the
well, and to be fair, there's a difference. There's a difference because I downloaded this. I thought I'd try it out, and I downloaded it, and there's literally a few tags. You want a pad that's analog, and whereas in these AI art things, you can kind of go, I want to see a pig playing the piano on Mars in the winter, with a green coat on in the style of Monet. There's a lot more descriptive kind of semantics that go into it. This just seems to have very little user interaction.
Someone's got to do that now. Someone has got to make that piece of art, I think.
Okay,
let's get on it.
I could do that.
Brie could just draw it for you. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah, even better.
There has been a development. Get the pens out. There has been a development whereby you can add your own information to those data sets now. So you can take your face and add it into the AI's collection. So you can actually have a bit more control. But this thing
YouTube poster
really
frames, here they come.
Yeah, absolutely. But this thing really does seem like just mashing the random button over and over again
with a price.
And to be honest,
50 turns.
Well, you get 50 turns for free, and then you run out. And I imagine you could smash that button 50 times without coming up with anything any good. And to be honest, what sounded like was happening in the demo on there just sounded like really tiny little filter tweaks on a general MIDI patch. It wasn't very good. I've tried to be nice.
Here's the thing, like what I was saying about AI is only as good as the humanity that goes into it. When you think about a synthesizer design, and indeed loads of plugin designs as well, so much humanity goes into that. Teams of people's experience and engineers listening with human ears and making decisions in the process of making the instrument itself. And then, when I compare even like the OP6 is just a random example to this, it doesn't have the range of expression, and it doesn't get weird enough, because surely if you're using it as an experimental jumping off point, you want it to mangle things and go quite far to the extremes. And there's a demo on there called like Dirty Pluck, and I was like, I can't hear any dirt. Where's the dirt?
I have a theory about why it's called AI in this little box as well. I think the AI isn't actually in the creation of the sounds. I think the AI will be to do with, it's going to be logging every time someone says yes to a sound. And it's going to be building up a data.
You're the data set, basically.
You're the data.
And basically, do you know what I mean? You are the AI giving it the information.
Okay,
but,
let's Gaz come in here.
Be honest, I gotta be honest, as a business model, it stinks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got a toilet there, guys.
Nicely found at short notice.
Desktop bog.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think it just feels, Gaz, it just feels like a money grab. It feels like they're basically lining up to sell the company sometime in the future.
What's a horrible idea?
Really,
What's a horrible idea?
Really work.
Absolutely horrible idea.
I think in terms of coming up with patch names, that's totally cool. We use AI to generate. I think there is because Robin wrote something in here and he said, I'm trying to find he said. The AI just offered one of the names it offered me was called Tro-headed bullshit, and he said, I wonder if that was actually just them having a bit of a laugh because it's sort of, it's not far off what we might make of it. Anyway, let's not give it too much more time because but I just thought it was very interesting that this thing's even come up and people are. We're going to find this in all sorts of places, no doubt. It's just the beginning.
It must be just the beginning.
Okay. All right, let's get on to something way more important, right? Oops. Woo!
Oh, right.
This is the new Teenage Engineering PO80. Your own record lathe. Make your own vinyl records, 5-inch, 45, 3 minutes for a 45, or 4 minutes for a 33, I think it is. In collaboration with Yuri Suzuki. And there we go. This is what it looks like. And in fact, those of the eagle-eyed amongst you may just go, hold on a minute, isn't that just, what's it called? It's a Gacken toy record maker, which is actually about 50 quid cheaper, which is about 50p cheaper and identical. In fact, I think it's, what's his name? The Magpie. Simon the Magpie has done he basically said, I've just reviewed this, but he hasn't reviewed this. He's just reviewed the Gacken toy record maker, and he couldn't, you can't see any great differences. So I wonder if we're, again, a little bit of smoke and mirrors here. Gaz, I don't know. I saw this and I thought, 150 quid doesn't seem unreasonable if it's anywhere near good, but it doesn't sound like it's anywhere near good. So 100 quid. Isn't this the perfect record, perfect present? I think what they've done is they've basically teamed up to get the cachet and the cool of Teenage Engineering. As far as I know, I don't know that they've necessarily done anything internally to make it sound any better or operate any better. They do have a mastering process that's powered by Clevgran on their site, so you can upload your MP3s and it'll EQ and curve them, so then you might burn something that is even partially listenable on this piece of plastic. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that mastering bit is a really clever
that's
part
cool.
of it. So but these 5-inch discs, you think, where'd you get those from? It's it's a bit
about 10 pack is £22 each, 20 quid for.
Was it 20 quid
for a 10 pack?
Kind of all right. That's all right. That's not bad. I mean, there's like loads of uses for this, isn't there? I mean, sort of just really fun way to put a drum, like a drum track down, burn it onto that, then play it out.
Have you heard it?
Mic the speaker.
Messed it up.
Yeah, but it's an expensive way of achieving like a really rubbish sound. I think it's really good fun though. I think if it's for kids and stuff, if you just recorded a little song onto it and the kid has it on a record, and I think there's something quite sweet about it.
It does say
totally
it's not for children under 12.
Yeah, that's what I was disappointed. You scroll to the bottom of the page and it says not for children. It's got a picture of a little girl playing with it.
No.
It's the cutting head. It's the cutting head that does it, because of the cutting head's probably got some kind of diamond tipped thing that could prick your finger. And it would be like it would be like the Sleeping Beauty. The 21st century of Sleeping Beauty. Your finger was pricked by a Gacken record toy, and you fell asleep for 100 years, and when you woke up, the technology had improved. I don't know when. Maybe that's. But yeah, it's fun. I know.
Because
I could see that on a shelf in your studio.
Well, no.
Just
not even for
saying
fun.
our studio is aesthetically nice.
I mean, I know there's nothing in here. Okay, maybe for a bit of fun. But I made a Lego record player. In fact, I made several Lego record players when I was a kid, when children were allowed to hold needles and roll up paper cones and play records and things. And I was fascinated by it. I loved it. And I can see this would be absolutely brilliant for a kid, just
Yeah.
with the excitement of seeing how those little wiggly lines turn into sound, or how sound turns into little wiggly lines and back again.
That's the
It's
real market
fascinating.
I thought it was for. So I was really disappointed to see
Yeah.
it's not for kids, because I mean, if there are so many ways to get that rough sound if you want it, and I mean, cheaper ways.
Yeah, and I was looking into lathe cutting. I mean, when you get lathe cut vinyl, so a 7-inch costs something between sort of 20 quid each, but that's going to sound a lot better. And then, as you say, you've got to replace these. And watching what was it? The guy that did the video that you mentioned earlier, I've temporarily forgotten his name.
Simon the Magpie.
Simon the Magpie. He basically looked like he might have got through 2 or 3 or 4 of those blank discs before he managed to get the levels right. So once again, I mean, how do you know? And that mastering chain that they've produced specifically for it is, I'm guessing that's just rolling all the bottom off and then rolling all the top off, and then making it quiet enough to not distort.
I think this is going to end up in a Scandi Noir, where somebody gets sent one of these discs and there's going to be a message or something with a background, and then they're going to have to forensically extract the audio and find out where the body is buried or whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, even though I think it's laughable, I sort of want one.
It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I saw something. Once again, I'm sorry. I should have just remembered just now. There was a folk band or a country band that were basically doing live performances of one song and recording them onto individual lathe discs for people to buy one at a time. So each person that bought one was getting their own individual performance of that particular song right in front of them, straight out. So that'd be a lovely thing to do. You get
that was on WFMU, I believe.
Was it really?
Yeah.
You get a whole stack of those, and then you get people queue up, and you got, what do you want? Play the song, record it, and they can walk away with it for like
old school,
50 quid
like
or something.
As they used to say, waxing a hottie. That's what we used to say when we were remixing. Sorry, I can't make the party. I'm waxing a hottie, which is cutting a wax cylinder, effectively. Anyway, good fun. Okay, right. Well, I think it's probably time for our weekly visit from our friends over at iZotope and Prince Charles Alexander.
iZotope Producers Club is a one-of-a-kind membership for producers ready to take their tracks to the next level. Once you join, you'll gain access to powerhouse iZotope plugins and a curated selection of tools from our partners, such as Melodyne from Celemony. Plus, as long as you're a member, you'll get every future update to the iZotope plugins in your membership for no extra cost. We'll also regularly serve you new curated content like exclusive inspiration-sparking sample packs and preset packs, and industry-leading training ranging from our own tutorials to vocal production lessons from the world-renowned Berklee Online, taught by Grammy-winning producer and engineer Prince Charles Alexander. With new content being added every month full of valuable production techniques, tips and tricks, and solutions to common production problems, becoming a member is an investment in your career that grows as you and your career do. For more information on iZotope Producers Club, head to iZotope.com.
Hello?
I'm not hearing Nick.
Can't hear you anymore, Nick.
Sorry. I'm back. Yeah, that's always a schoolboy error. Yeah, if you go to iZotope.com/Sonictalk, there is a page which instructs you how to save 10% by using the code Sonic10 on any of the plugins and software bundles, not subscriptions and not hardware, obviously, but we thank them very much for their support. Gotta throw this one is John Van Eaton, King Charles Alexander. Yeah, you think it's about time that he succeeded the throne and was no longer a prince and became a king. I think that's a very reasonable request. Thank you very much, John Van Eaton, for that. That's excellent. Well, I mean, we're moving. How is everybody fixed for time? Because we could go on for a long time. I've got questions. I've got topics. Are we okay if we overrun a little bit with you guys? Have you got stuff to do, Gaz? Are we okay?
All good.
Are you streaming tonight, Gaz?
I am. I'm going to do a show. I've decided just now to do a show, so I've got a plan. So I've got.
You've seen me fumble this one so badly. You think I'm going to show them how to do it properly.
I've been putting together this very peculiar drum machine using a quad drum from VPME, which is a brilliant drum module, absolutely brilliant drum module. So I've been trying to mess around with it using a burst module called Pulsar from Qubit. And that's a very strange module in that you could do it like a sort of gate sequencer, but it uses all these ideas of like gravity and absorb and
okay.
it's just a very different way, very, very different way of approaching beat programming. So I'm going to do some of that on my show tonight.
Nice. Which is, of course, Gaz Williams. At Gaz Williams, isn't it? The Gaz Williams Show on YouTube.
Yeah,
Is it?
That's
yeah,
it.
exactly.
The Gaz Williams
8
Show.
o'clock.
Yeah. 8 o'clock.
Excellent.
Please. Be there.
Nice one.
Yeah.
And you get a plug for that as well. And are you doing a live stream tonight, guys? Are you doing? When's your next live stream? By the way,
we keep it to once a month at the moment. Again, we're trying to keep that balance between the doing and the sharing.
We tend to try to record segments so that we can have a breather as well. Just plop something down for 10 minutes so we can sit back and go.
Also, yeah, the format's quite different. We don't kind of just sit there and talk. I think we went into it and decided, right, we're making a TV show. So we like make full, pre-filmed segments and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
We've been buying lights.
Roll VT.
And stuff. Yeah, totally. Yeah,
we got some good new lights, actually. These are a bargain. These LED panels with barn doors and softboxes.
Oops.
They're really good.
Beg your pardon. I'm sorry about that. That was not what I meant to do. That was the wrong button. That was another example of what flying by the seat of your pants is like, rather than pre-recording any sections and giving yourself a break. But do carry on.
Yeah, I just recommend them if you're looking for budget LED lights. They're just on Amazon. The Neewer 480 RGBW.
You can get 3 of them for about 180 quid.
With stands, with barn doors, with everything you need.
And they work.
That's what I've got. I've got one of those over there, but it's not.
They work with an
RGB.
app, so you can do this.
Ooh.
And then
disco.
straight back to normal.
Yeah.
And then
Nice.
horribly cold. Orange.
Oh, that's warm. That's warm.
Too warm.
Oh, that looks
Too warm.
very. No, that's good. That works well. Suddenly, it all looks very. If you did it that's a real daylight. That's not bad actually. Matches your camera.
It's all right, isn't it?
I may say so. Yeah,
Hey,
nice.
That's what we've
all
been
of
doing.
all of these new things that we have to figure out in this world. Gaz,
It's ridiculous, really.
Oh, go on.
Hey,
Are you going to do your app?
I've got an eBay bid going on for a synth.
Oh.
In 13 minutes, so that'll happen during showtime.
We're
and
going to have a live purchase.
Well, maybe or maybe not. It's one of these things. I won't reveal what it is yet, otherwise people
No,
will
don't want
go
anybody
bother
bidding
out.
on. Exactly.
So
This is like the
exciting.
worst place you could possibly
My heart
announce.
always races in that final 10 seconds because that's when I try and put my last bid in, and you just got to hope.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck.
Right.
Oh no,
Well,
the
I
mouse
reckon
button's stuck, or my computer's run out of power, or something. Yeah.
I think it's.
That's the
I'll reveal what it is.
Oh yeah,
in,
yeah. Oh, please do.
13 minutes.
Right.
But it's one of these things that's currently unfashionable, and I'm kind of curious about it after a friend of mine got something similar.
I wonder what it is.
Yeah. I'm not going to bid.
I know what it is. I know what it's got. It's got to be a Timberwolf.
Yeah.
They will have their day.
Oh, maybe
Put it in
not.
with your Gak and
Or
Toy
maybe
record maker.
It could be
Yeah,
what you
okay.
reviewed
Well-
on the big house.
Okay, it's not one of these, is it, Gaz?
I'm
not PSS
just going to
480.
put my maximum. I'm going to put my maximum bid at 200 quid in, and I'm not going to put any more on that. Okay. So
Okay, that should give us some indication.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, well, this will be a bit of jeopardy. We can add coming right up. Gaz wins or loses. We don't know yet. Stay tuned. Okay, so well,
Two
in
of
the
our
meantime,
shows.
let's do this.
Hi, I'm Hainbach, and it's good to have you back. Here at Hainbach Studio B, we've quite the collection of scientific research equipment, especially bandpass filters. Each of them was saved from ending up in a landfill and has been turned into a musical instrument. Their unique switched nature gives you a sound that's very different from what you find in normal studio equipment. And
I'm going to fast forward him a bit so that we can get. Here we are. It's really interesting. So he took a rare German tube broadcast leveling amp that got it kind of modified to be a preamp with compressor. And also there's a filter, which is an Allison Labs filter, which has got some unusual sonics. And what I really like about this is the way the automation makes the dials move. I know it's just a little thing, but it's really important to
not only a bandpass filter, it is an experimental channel strip with a preamp.
Yeah. So anyway, Hainbach did say I'd love to be on, but he's currently on tour in Turkey, so maybe he's using it. But he uses that actual hardware in his studio a lot. And I must admit, this is an interesting idea. This is the audio thing. I should give you the nuts and bolts of it. Audio thing. It's currently €49, €49 reduced from 79, and I think it's the 5th or 6th plugin he's done in collaboration with them. And in fact, Jamie Liddell has produced a set of 808 samples that were kind of sampled through it, and had some really interesting things. But this whole notion of these kind of, we've had esoteric synths and hard to find synths, and they still keep coming out, but these idea of like these really unusually and rare kind of scientific equipment stuff to sample through is great. I don't know, Gaz, have you some studios have these really beautiful things that you can put things through, and you really just, there is something about them. It's almost like the Pultec effect, isn't it? Some studios have a real Pultec, and you put it in there and you move that dial a tiny amount. It's like this sort of ridiculously about, and suddenly your 808 sounds like a hip hop record. It's just kind of crazy stuff sometimes, isn't it? The effect these things can have that is more than subtle, but something that is hard to find anywhere else.
My long-term musical partner in Rocket Goldstaff, Frank, he sort of collects all sorts of interesting things, including like Vortexians. Have you ever heard of them? Vortexians, old British, and
Wembley, made in Wembley mixers.
Oh right, okay. Yeah. And you put stuff through it, and there is a sound to it. And I think what's lovely with this Hainbach Dials is that is unquestionably a really strong sound. And I mean, there's billion 1176 clones and stuff out there and certain things, but this notably sounds really different. It's got a very specific graininess to the sound that's kind of interesting and also unusual. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking it's probably because they've not been used musically. They're not musical devices, that these tones are kind of, I don't know, it's quite like it sounds quite new, even though it's old, paradoxically,
Yeah, John Van Eaton says he has all the stuff from Hainbach. It's crazy. He's got some lovely stuff, and he's definitely got. It's the aesthetic, isn't it? I think the aesthetic is very strong with Hainbach. You look at his videos, you look at everything about the stuff that he does. It's important, and it really comes across. And having that is important. Do you have any esoteric amplification or input stages in your new studio?
Well, we used to stick things through the Copycat preamp, and I've got that
tiny little portable speaker you used to have for distorting. That was brilliant. The Arrow.
That's esoteric. That's a distortion thing, isn't it? Yeah, it was from Tandy. That's great.
It's had a really unique sound.
It used to be. It was like a tiny little. It's an Archer amp. You remember those?
Archer.
And they kind of got their input stages massively overdriven. Anyway, it sounds like a Marshall, and it was like £4. It's brilliant. But yeah, this sounds absolutely gorgeous. I mean, we use the bandpass on the Tysco quite a lot, and it's really nice for putting reverb through and having it regenerated through with some bandpass stuff going on. You get those lovely tones, but it's not quite as Gaz was saying, these don't sound the same as any of those things. They kind of, it's almost more defined. There's something really beautiful and ghostly and yet clear about it. Yeah, I really like this stuff.
I love it. I especially like the way he's made it stackable in the thing as well, so you can build up instances of it and just keep manipulating the sound that way. Yeah, I think that's beautiful, the sounds. And he's kind of doing us an archival service, because he shows the original device and it's kind of falling apart and getting a bit weird. And he says they kept the settings weird on purpose because it just sounds better the way with that character of the actual device.
Yeah, it's definitely a really amazing job of capturing the vibe of that thing. Just it feels. I remember walking into a friend's studio about 15 years ago, and I was like, "What's that?" And pointed at something on the rack, and it was just this bit of old metal with some Bakelite knobs on it. And he just said, "That's just my box that makes it sound like German radio in the 30s." And so I still have no idea what it was, but he plugged it in and switched it on, and for sure, there we were. I guess it was one of those, bandpass sort of things going on. It did something to the sound that just instantly made it sound, I don't know, like it was coming out of a big old wooden cabinet and blowing valves and
spooky
little things.
And sparkly and alive.
The woody
stuff.
sound, the woodies. I used to have this little rack. I think they were Tantec or Trantec. They were old kit things, and I bought them, and I had a compressor, a gate, and an exciter, I think. And I used to use the compressor all the time. And I don't know what it was. It was set to kind of like guitar level or something. So everything you put in it was kind of choked, kind of beyond. And I used it on the vocal in Tom's Diner, and it gave it this real sort of that distortion, the bite at the front of all of those words. It's I don't know where I think I must have got rid of it. I don't know why. I think I bought it, and it was made in a folded kind of aluminium case with a load of sort of 1/4-inch plastic patch points, and I used to use it all the time. Maybe I blew it up or something. I wish I still had it because it had a certain something. In fact, I remember the light on the compressor, the little LED, which used to sort of glow when it was doing something, blew up. There was a sort of snap and the thing split. Still worked. It wasn't optical. Still worked, but I haven't got it anymore. So yeah, but it'd be nice to have some of those things.
There's an interesting thing with this dials is that Jamie Liddell's made a special
808. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Ableton sort of rack for it. Yeah, so making each instance of it sound like a different drum from an 808.
Oh,
which
wow.
That's quite interesting. I think, what is he just using? Is he with Jamie? Is he made the sounds by just sort of using the?
I think so. I think he's just used dials to make those sounds. I don't think he's sampled anything. It's
just an impulse going in, and then dials is doing the rest.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
I think their 808 sounds processed through it. I think, but I may be wrong about that. We haven't got him here to.
I think he's trying to make it sound like an 808.
Oh, I do beg your pardon. I stand corrected. I do stand corrected.
Well, if we are correct,
inevitably.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
I need to visit the correctional facility. Thank you very much. Let's see what else have we got. I wonder whether or not
I'm getting really worried about Gaz's eBay purchase here.
I'm outbid. It's on 205, and there's 4 minutes left. Now, with it, if it goes to 205, do you just go, oh?
That's why I waited for the last.
That's tough, isn't it?
What do you do?
Only a fiver, man.
Well, hold on.
£6.75.
Yeah, but that's where it starts, isn't it? That's where it starts.
Yes.
Hold on. There's somebody in the chat room. I'm just trying to find it now. So I think they found it, and they said, "Was it?"
No.
But we're not going to say what it is.
Now there's going to be trouble.
But I'm not going to put it. I was just looking. I was just going to flag it so that when it shows up, I could. But my page keeps loading. I can't go that far back in the chat. Unfortunately, it's a bit disappointing. But that's just the way it goes. I should have flagged it earlier. I need a pre-flagging flag.
I did say I wasn't going to go over 200, so I should. Maybe I should tell it now, and then anyone else wants to go and get a bargain rather than let it go.
Oh, okay. Crumple in the chat room
self-control.
I am.
You demonstrate what is that self-control?
Okay.
What is
you ready
this
for
thing?
the reveal? Okay, we got 3 minutes.
Okay, come on then.
It's quite boring actually. You're all going to kind of go, oh, is that it? But it's a Roland XV 5050. So that's a rack unit. The reason being is like I've got this Electro One controller, which is like the best MIDI controller I've ever used for and I really feel like it needs something with like a synthesizer that's got a lot of depth but not a lot of real-time control. And my friend Jason's just bought a Roland 1080 JV 1080 from
Just breaking. Technomatic says with a super chat sticker of $10 bid up Gaz. I think we could have a new feature here, couldn't we? We could basically, if we had a budget of like 50 quid, we could somebody at the beginning of the show could find us something that could go, and if it goes to whoever guesses the final price, obviously we have to have a window that we could have an egging on. There's something here, live eBay bidding. There could be a thing there. Gaz, have you changed your mind, or is it too late?
I don't know. I mean, like
the strategy I use is whatever your highest bid is, wait until the final 10 seconds to make that bid, because then they won't try and outbid you.
Yeah,
it's very.
You made an error there, Gaz. Now you've got to.
Naughty, but it works.
Got to take Technomatic's 10 quid and add that to the equation.
The last 5 seconds.
I'll send it over. I will send it over.
It does have the supernatural piano, and I love using things like the.
Oh yeah, that's good.
The noodler, for just doing crazy stuff. So actually being able to do something.
Big multi-timbrality, isn't it? It's got
you've
got a lot of multi-timbrality on it. Yeah, meat and potatoes.
So just something doesn't take up much space, little meat and potato thing for doing like kind of experimental stuff with. But what's it kind
I
of
used to
worth
have a
these days,
1080.
something like
Yeah.
that?
I don't know.
Okay.
You could
I'll
the thing
try.
is, you could probably get it on Roland Cloud for about a tenner. No, actually, it would be about 300
Yes.
quid, wouldn't it, on Roland Cloud?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
The chat room.
It's gone up. It's gone up.
It's gone.
up. I did
How much?
210. It's 50 seconds. It's gone 215 at the moment.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Crikey.
It's going to
Yeah.
go. Well,
Still
keep us
haven't-
posted. Perhaps we should get
I'm letting go.
on some
I'm
user
letting go.
questions, because I do remember we do have those. Let me see what I can find. Let's see. I'm going to go with the one that's at the top of that. Well, no. First of all, I'm going to go for. Oh gosh, now there are so many. John Van Eaton posted. Let me see where it is. I've got him here. Oh yeah, here we go. This is actually probably quite pertinent to you guys over there, you boos. John Van Eaton in the oh no, it's this one, isn't it? Sorry, wrong button. John Van Eaton in the chat room asks, I think I asked because I lost it. Do people like DistroKid? My friend Jordan has just released an AI drum software, and asked anything about Midi Quest. I think it was DistroKid, and I guess the reason that we came to you, Boo, is because obviously you're self-distributing and self-releasing. Do you use any of these services, and if so, do you find them useful?
yeah. We use DistroKid, and I think it's better profit-wise compared to CD Baby, which is another one you can use. It's just got a flat fee of £20 a year, and they distribute everything to all the major online stores. You get a hyperfollow page, which is good for building your Spotify fan base and stuff like that. They're really good. Also, they generate ISRC codes for the tracks you submit, which is something that you would normally have to pay for separately. So, yeah, highly recommend DistroKid. They're brilliant.
If you want to know more about our PR work and the journey we do, if you go back and check our Monday's Boocast, Boocast number 5, there is a 35-minute...
maybe 30 minutes. I hope it wasn't 35.
Quite an
PowerPoint.
extensive PowerPoint, which is basically goes through everything we think you should do if you want to get anyone to hear your music.
So it covers both the PR side of things, but also making money. So distribution and how to do distribution for yourself when you're independent. And yeah, DistroKid's fantastic for digital distribution.
Yeah, because so many people make fantastic music and they really wonder, don't understand why, how come nobody is hearing it? Why is this not working? I don't know. And there's such a lot of work to do between finishing it and getting anyone to hear it. So if you want to check that out, do go and check that out.
Okay.
Make yourself a coffee beforehand, though.
It sold for £215.
No.
Oh, okay. You could have gone 211.75. That's the other strategy. You go in at sort of £214.97. You know, that's so you go this weird. That's what I don't know. There's any truth in that.
Wagyu put it into my head though to get an XV 5080 though instead to look out for one of them. So that's kind of shifted my. That's bigger in it. It's an extra U, but it's sort of I don't know. What's the advantage? More expansion space?
I'm not
in
sure.
it? I don't know.
Not sure. But back to the question. CD. The question was, I can't even remember. It's gone now. Where's
DistroKid?
Do people like DistroKid or CD Baby or any of those things? Have you used any of that stuff yourself?
Not well. Yeah, I have DistroKid. Was DistroKid? No, maybe not. I can't remember. It's been ages. I just don't typically do. I work for people who put stuff out. I don't do that bit. Sort of. So I'm not the best to answer this, but that sounds. I'm going to watch the Boocast though, because that. I mean, I wanted to watch it anyway, but that sounds great. That's the stuff I need to know.
Even more reason. Okay, all right. Let's get on to another question. And I think this is from Nick Howes, which I think would be probably we can figure this one out. So this one, Nick Howes via the chat. What piece of gear what's the piece of gear people most regret selling? For him, it's Jupiter 8 or Prophet 5. Well, good, lucky that you had that opportunity. Oh, wrong button. Come on, get off. I'm getting it all in a kerfuffle. I'm going to come to you guys first because you haven't been here for any of our user questions yet. So
those are two heartbreaking losses right there.
Well, I mean, I'm not allowed to sell anything anymore.
No, because I'm a keeper. I'm like, you got to keep it. I haven't let go of a lot of our stuff.
Yeah, but in the early 2000s, 2000, 3, I was moving from Brighton to London, and I was moving into a very tiny flat, and I didn't have any room, and I was broke, and I sold my Juno 6 for £100, and the guy came round and tested all the buttons to check it worked, and I was just stood over him going, come on.
That's horrible.
And
Don't
I
make
honestly
it any more
believed,
painful.
Yeah.
I honestly believed I'll just replace it. I'll get another one day. It'll be fine. I bought it for £200 anyway. Actually, I was going to say this again. I used to be mates with Kirk Brandon, and he went into GAC with me, and he strong-armed the staff at Brighton's Guitar Amp and Keyboard Centre and said, how much do you want for this then? And basically they dropped the price for me. So I got it nice and cheap. Thanks, Kirk. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought I'll just get another one when I've got space. And how much are they now? It's ridiculous. Like 10 times the price more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really regret that, because that was my archetypal synth. That was my. I used to play with that thing every day walking home from school in Freeman's Music in Leytonstone High Road, and I'd stand there for hours making endless arpeggios, just going, oh, wow, this is amazing. And, it just seemed to me, it looks like our polysynth should look, and it was so beautiful. That hurts. That really hurts. It still hurts.
That's why we won't.
I'm sorry to bring up these painful memories. Okay, Brie, I can see you've got Chris's emotional well-being at
yes.
I'll
never let him.
there, so, yeah.
I don't know if I should say, but there are times when we've considered selling some of our precious family members, and I've said no.
Well, there are things that can never go.
There are things that can never go,
but there are things we go, well, we never use that. Should we get? No. Always, it's funny. It's like when Gaz was talking about records earlier, you don't listen to a record for 10 years. We sold a load of stuff because we were going to move as well. We sold loads of books and loads of records, and just because you haven't heard something for a long time doesn't mean you're not going to come back to it one day and go, wow, this is incredible. And it's the same with instruments. It's the same with everything. Just what I'm saying is
not.
Hoard like a nutter.
Keep it all. Yeah, I know, Gaz. I mean, you've mentioned some of your regrets. I seem to remember. Is it your TR 606 or 626? I forget now. But is there anything else that you've really regretted?
606.
Yeah, I don't sell a lot. I do hoard. I don't know. Yes and no. I mean, it's kind of weird because I'm sorry, I should get on more on the mic. I've been, guitars, bass guitars mainly, I suppose, over the years. I had a lovely JD Supernatural. That's one of my biggest regrets, but that's for another podcast, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know. I don't typically sort of lust after vintage gear. I'm always interested in new ideas and new things. So I don't know. I was just saying this having bid on the XV10 50/50, but boom. I don't know. Yes, some regrets, but mostly the things I've really liked I've kept, I think. Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm just trying to think what mine is. I think possibly it was probably the MS50 and SQ10, and not because I used them a lot. It's just I wish I still had them, because then I would have more of that set, I suppose. But generally speaking, I wouldn't sell something that was, most of the stuff I acquired I was sort of using. So I did, and now we've moved to this place where I don't have to hide it all in the attic. I've got room for it, and it's something that I need to keep because it's my qualifications or something. That's why they're in a rack behind me. So I haven't had to do that, but I think I did have to. I did the SQ50 and the MS50 and SQ10, but I did swap those for a Jupiter 6. So I think I got a pretty good deal in the end, and I think I've still got the Jupiter 6. So I suppose that's fair enough, right? Maybe.
Yeah, totally. You're changing it with something else, especially Jupiter 6. Beautiful. A lovely thing.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get rid of that. That's.
I think that's good. If you're exchanging for another instrument, that's not so bad. Just don't sell it for cash to live on.
Don't sell it for £100.
Yeah.
No.
No matter how much of a hurry you're in.
Oh, well, I mean, we could go this way as well. This is Andrea Callea. Let's see, Andrea Callea via YouTube. On the other flip of the coin, what's the single synth gear that you would never sell? For me, it's the Deluge, they say. So that's a good one.
So hard. Oh, that's so hard.
Well, none of it, I suppose, because you're not going to sell any of it.
Not allowed to sell
Everything.
anything anymore because I will just cease to exist as a human being. I think actually I was looking around and just going, if there were 2 synths that I would keep out of everything if I had to, purely for, you know, the things that are the most interesting and useful to me and that we use the most, although we use everything, I think the Dominion and the OB6.
Okay.
Oh, those are good choices.
Good shout.
There's a lot of choices.
There's a lot of things you can do on the Dominion that I can do, you know, that other synths take the place of and do. They don't do exactly the same, but yeah, I think those 2.
I hate choosing between our children. They're all my favorites.
I know, it's not.
But I would instinctively, and it's the heaviest bloody thing to take, but I would want to grab the Tysco.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the first synths that I started really experimenting with synthesis on, and I love the things that it does and the way that it sounds, and it's that connection, isn't it, like you have with the Juno. I shouldn't remind you, but you know, yeah, and I do have that with the Dominion as well in a different way, and I love the Obi. So as soon as you said that, I was like, I don't know anymore.
The Tysco's got the fixed filter bank, which is really unusual and really lovely to have in the house.
Well, you did a 5 minutes with the Tysco, didn't you, for us? I think, Chris?
I did, yeah, and yes, it's great. It's a really unusual synth, and quite a few people hadn't heard of it. And then I think a lot of people, in fact, somebody bought one. Every single demonstration I do on the Boocast, there's one guy in California that just buys the thing I'm demonstrating during the show. And he bought a Tysco, bought an Op6, and he bought the Base Station 2 straight off the bat.
He hasn't bought the Yamaha PSS 480 though.
He hasn't bought that yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to adjust this because I keep leaning over to meet the mic, which is obviously not good. Like Gaz, what?
I've been thinking about this, and I think it's a difficult one, but I think it might be this.
Oh, yes, that's a good shout.
It's just so perfect in what it does. I love it. It sounds great. It's quite simple, but it's hard to make it sound bad. It's just lovely.
Vibey.
And it's vibey. But I mean, behind me, the Super 6 is such a wonderful instrument. I feel I've got such a long journey ahead of me with it because I find
so
it
quite recent then, really. Yeah,
but this one though, I think just in terms of, I don't know, they're kind of rare as well, aren't they? They're not mass market things. See, I got the Abyss.
Is that a Mark 1 or Mark 2?
This is a Mark 2, just the same as you got the Mark 2, haven't you?
Yeah, I got the Mark 2. Yeah, beautiful sounding thing.
It is, and I think there's just something. I don't know. It's almost it's a unique voice as well. I don't know if the Erebus Mark III. Yanis seems to think they sound the same.
I think the thing is every time I've played the Erebus to anybody, I used to take it round with me when I was like going up to Golf Rap, or if I did any sessions, I took one over to. People would just go, "Oh my goodness, what?" You know, it's just those raw oscillators. It's got that thing where you just go, "Crikey, that's all there." There's so much to it, you know.
It's got that bit of resonance, hasn't it, that you can't get rid of. I think that's its kind of secret, and so it's always got like a kind of juicy.
Now I'm struggling. I'm struggling because I was going to say something else, which I've now forgotten. And the fact the Erebus has popped into my head, into there. I think because I've got a Juno 106, and I think for me that was a very pivotal synth. I very rarely use it now because where I am here, there's not room to have a big keyboard lying around the whole time, but also it's broken. So there's another reason why I don't use it very often. Every time I switch on, it's got some of the voice cards are gone and it just goes, and it's really it's quite sad, and I feel ashamed that I can't use that. So I'd probably go for the smaller, kind of more compact things. In fact, actually, speaking of which, I'm looking at the Create Audio East Beast and West Pest at the moment.
Oh yeah, they look amazing.
The West Pest, honestly, it sounds incredible. I've never heard anything. It's like the kind of a very accessible complex oscillator. It's just massive. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Well, you know me and my fear of modular. I mean, I'm just terrified of the stuff, and it's almost no, keep away! It's like Count Dracula coming towards me. But the West Pest, and I was going, oh, that's quite reasonable. Oh, that sounds incredible.
Was it Matt Hodson showing us that?
No, that was
where did we see that?
That was Super Booth. That was watching your coverage of Super Booth, and it's Pittsburgh.
I mean, Richard Nichols probably. Yeah. Well, it's Richard Nicholl, and I'm reliably informed that the West Pest has the heart of the now discontinued and highly sought after Voltage Research Lab, which they built. So the oscillator from that, and the East Beast has basically the oscillator and filter from the SV1, which both are really good sounding instruments. So for the price, it's an astonishing. Anyway, sorry, I'm
feeling very terrible, itchy wallet fingers.
Itchy wallet fingers. The thing is, though, is if you introduce modular to your system, then Brie's sort of philosophy of not letting you get rid of anything might have to
exactly. That's not how that works.
They are standalone, though, aren't they? They're standalone units that you don't need them in the rack.
Well, you can rack them. You can take them out and stick them in the rack if you want. They will, but they come in a sort of desktop case. Yeah.
There's something else we were thinking of. I don't know if you've seen it. It was the DF
Audio Mini Bay.
The DF Audio Mini Bay.
Really cool.
I'll try
really petite.
It's an Australian company, and they've made this patch bay which sits on your desk, and it runs on TRS plugs out the back, so you can get 2 inputs into each TRS large jack, and it's controlled by you just plug everything in on the front with You've got one. Fantastic. That looks amazing. You using it? How is it, Gaz?
Well, I've only used it in a very, very basic
There's
form.
nothing plugged into it, you might notice.
Yeah, there's nothing plugged into it. Carry on describing it, though, because you would do a better job than me.
But do you reckon? Just the idea that you can have. I mean, I've got masses of guitar pedals, and it's always a case of and then round the back of the synths. The idea of having everything plugged in and just sat on your desk in that nice little format, just comfortably there with mini jacks, patching things into each other. It seems like a really lovely, flexible, exciting thing to do. That's not modular, is it? That's something else.
It's dfaudio.com.au, and it's one guy in Australia called Dudley, and I think they're made somewhere overseas. But yeah, they're really cool.
It's well made.
So Dudley's really F Audio. I wonder what the F stands for. It sounds like a Dudley audio, right? Or maybe not.
Bloody
Oops, NSFW.
My plan is, and it's the reason why it's not currently wired in, is because I need these are
TRS, aren't they?
TRS, yeah, and I want to get all the cables for it, and I am going to make an effects matrix with it. That is my plan.
Awesome.
Once I've just got to get loads of things, but then you just use your regular Eurorack patch cables. Then once you're in, and there is a little passive sum mixer as well on there as well. It's really well thought out. Yeah, very cool indeed.
It is. It's surprising that this doesn't exist until now. Hasn't existed until now
in that format.
It's really useful,
really cute, really lovely,
just compact. Reminds me of the little mini mixer.
The mini mixer, which is there.
Useful. You recommend affordable insert cables from AliExpress on the website.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Well, that sounds good. How's everybody doing for time? I know because there's just so many questions, and we've got
fine.
We've got further. Fine. Okay. Gaz, how do you feel about answering a question that's for you? This one comes from Dai Stanton. Dai Stanton wants to know, Gaz, grids or marbles, or grids and marbles?
They're kind of incomparable, really. They do such different things. Grids has been mind-blowing for me. Grids, if you don't know, that is it's a module made by Mutable Instruments, or rather was made by Mutable Instruments, but now is available by lots of third-party manufacturers, as it's all open source. So you can get much smaller ones. I think to hunt out a full-size grids is worth doing, because it takes up a bit more kind of modular space than you can get it down a lot smaller, but I think it's so tweaky that you really want to get those hands on those controllers. And what's kind of interesting about Grids is it's like, it calls itself a topographic drum sequencer. If you imagine like a 2D map of just drum grooves all over this map, and then you've got an X and Y, and you can navigate through these sort of pre-programmed grooves. But it becomes interesting because even though it's like a 3-channel, you got drum, you got kick, snare, and like a hi-hat, you can vary how many there are. So you can, if you turn a knob all the way to the left, it's like mute. Turn it up, you'll get like one beat of it. Turn it all the way, and it'll fill up the entirety. So you end up swinging around on those controls a lot, and it is really
nice.
brilliant. I've not experienced that. I've taken a little moment to explain that because I've not experienced that in any other drum machine before. But Marbles is so different. Marbles is a random sampler. There is an aspect to Marbles where you can make some of the gates come out using some of the algorithms from Grids. So there is a little overlap. But Marbles is a whole lot more. And as an answer to the question, Marbles and Grids. Yeah, very different, but both brilliant. Genius, works with genius.
Muted, Nick. You're
I
muted.
won't come to you, guys. I thank you. Sorry about that. I won't come to you because you're keeping away from modular. I do have one more question, though, before we go. And this is so that I can plug our event. So O- asks, what's the great place in England for modular shows? I know Gaz mentions them every once in a while, but would love to see some nice places that open people to experiment performances. Well, I would like to answer that one first because, first of all, just look out for the hashtag EMOM anywhere on YouTube or on Facebook or any of those places, because there's a really growing movement of places which put on these nights, and these nights are effectively you can be book yourself in for a gig for 15 minutes. So basically you do a 15-minute set, and there's a whole bunch of people that will do a 15-minute set in a place amongst people who are likely to appreciate that. So it's a sort of low risk, high experimentation, non-judgmental thing. And we're going to be doing our own one of those, certainly on the 26th of November in Bath. This is 2022, in case you're watching this after the fact, or another year perhaps. So do keep an eye out. We'll be posting a lot of stuff about that in the coming weeks as we promote it. But EMOM, I would say, would be a really good idea. Yeah, chaps, Booze, have you been to EMOMs in your local area?
Quite a bit in Brighton. We have been to the Brighton Modular Meet once. That was brilliant. And I think that's an annual or quarterly event. I'm not sure.
I actually saw Finley Shakespeare was playing there. It was great.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I'm not sure if they're back up and running since COVID, but they've got a Facebook page, just Brighton Modular Meet on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's these regular nights, Spirit of Gravity, where Christy Midiera actually does a lot of the visuals there, improvised live visuals for various artists that come from all over the world and local people just improvising with modular stuff.
And that's a modular meet that's been going for 25 years, is it?
Yeah, I think
Something
so.
like
Really
that.
long time.
I mean, they're
So, and
properly...
that's weekly, I think. Yeah, spiritofgravity.com for that. They're the two that I know about in Brighton, but there could be more. There's quite a lot of it down here.
Jim Glue in the chat room has said Brighton has 2 EMOMs, which is true enough. Jim Glue, of course, you may have seen him on Jamie Morden Geosynth, did a stream of, I forget where it was, I do beg your pardon, but Jim's a regular at those. And I think if you do check out Jamie's Geosynth podcast, they talk once a month. I think they're going to be discussing the EMOM thing, and I was watching it the other day, and I had a chat with Jamie today to kind of figure out if we were going to be doing it right and the plans that we had. Gaz, I know there's a bunch of them in Bristol as well, and you've played,
yes.
and
actually I've just looked it up. It's actually happening tonight. We all play synths at Lost Horizon, which is a very hip, cool new venue in Bristol. It's a really great place for this, and that is an EMOM, exactly that. And that's where I did my first ever sort of solo modular performance. Very short little one, but that's on tonight. There's also another brilliant event if you're in the Bristol area that happens every fortnight, I think, on Monday. It's called Eastern Labs in the quite decrepit but cool All Hallows Hall. It's a big hall. A friend of mine kind of recently got soundproofed the whole thing. It's a beautiful old kind of crumbly old building, but what happens on those nights, a lot of people bring, it's rather than it being like a stage, it's more of a jam where everybody just plays kind of all night. but it also attracts a lot of visual artists as well. And then this huge hall, and it's really big, and it's got all this like soundproofing all over it. People just pick a piece of wall and bring projectors and video synths. So it's as much a visual jam as it is a synth jam. Eastern Labs, very cool thing. Yeah. So those two both really ace in Bristol. Yeah. So we'll play
I mean, I
synths.
would add, like I say, if you just keep an eye out, I mean, Facebook, there's an EMOM group, and there's I forget that there is a URL for it. I'm sure the chat room will be able to furnish us with that. I wasn't really prepared for this, but there are, I mean, now there's EMOM events are happening literally almost every day somewhere in England. And so if you're anywhere near one of them, that's probably, the place to go to check out and then maybe play, because the one thing that people seem to say, we're all used to noodling away in our rooms in our little place, but giving yourself just a little target of like a 15-minute set in front of a kind of a fairly safe audience is a really good thing to do. I mean, I think it really does kind of help with lots of things, and it seems to be a movement that's growing very rapidly, and so I'd thoroughly recommend that.
It's really important to get out and meet people, isn't it? Get out there and full on face-to-face, genuine sweaty interactions. I think you may have just answered another one of the questions in the viewer questions, because the guy was saying, how do you stay inspired and motivated when everyone just wants to have guitar bands playing at their venues? I think you've just answered that question as well. Really?
Yes, that was. I'm trying to find it now. That was that's another one, wasn't it? I'm trying to find it there.
I think it had
There are so many questions. But yes, thank you for all of your questions. That's all right. Thank you for all of your questions, everybody. Keep them coming. I'll be posting. You can post them in the show, which I'll post live today. So that means you can leave comments already in that, or post them on Twitter. You can tweet at Sonicstate and QQ, or in any of the comments with QQ, and we'll get to see them. So please do keep them coming, and thank you very much for your continuing to do them. I'm not sure about the voting yet. It seems to work, because what tends to happen is the one at the top gets voted the most, just because it's the one at the top, even though perhaps it's not the one that everybody wants. But we'll work out. But anyway, Boo, Battery Operated Orchestra, Chris and Brie, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you both, and we must have you again as soon as it's possible.
It's been a joy being here.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Well,
so we're about to sort of leave social media because we're taking a break from social media. So if anyone wants to know anything about what we're doing, go to our website from now on.
We've got mailing lists.
Look at Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube, and Ampled. So
right.
Just that's how we're trying to stay.
Is that all available on booelectric.com? Is that where people can find all of that stuff? Yeah. Okay. Which fortunately I've put in the lower third there and spelt it right. It's a win for me today. And Gaz, thank you so much for joining us. So you're going to do a show later on, 8 o'clock, the Gaz Williams show, right?
Yes, please come and join me. It will be kind of chaotic. Maybe mention Synthfest on Saturday.
Synthfest. Synthfest, of course. Synthfest is on Saturday, the 8th of October, up in Sheffield. It's a Sound on Sound event. We will be there. We're going up with Gaz. Me and Andy will be there. There'll be a lot of familiar faces. I think Paulie's going as well. It's his first sort of outing away from the new baby. So we'll see them there as well. So we hope to get a ton of stuff. We're going to be filming like crazy, and it's going to be plenty of things. So do come and say hi if you see us at Synthfest, which is this weekend. Synthfest.co.uk, I think it is, or Synthfest UK. Yeah, synthfest.co.uk. Tickets available. Sold out in terms of exhibitors. There's no more exhibitor space, but I'm sure there's always room for more people there. Anyway, Chris and Brie, Gaz and Gaz, thank you everybody for joining us, and thanks to everybody in the chats. It's been a pleasure as ever. We will now, let me just get to I'm getting ready for my lives. I've got to switch it off at the right time. Thank you all of those in the super chats and the super stickers. I think Wagyu Dai Stanton, I think, posted one. I think he has, and certainly thanks, Gaz. I'll go and get a Grids then, says Dai Stanton. Thank you very much. So thank you to everybody. And that's it for this week. We'll see you all next time. That was Sonic Talk episode 731. See you later. Bye-bye now.
Cheerio.
Bye.